You check your phone. 22 messages. Group chats, memes, someone's birthday, and somehow, you still feel completely alone. Independence can build you, or it can quietly isolate you. And the weird part? A lot of us don't even notice when it shifts from one to the other. And here's the thing. Independence isn't the same as isolation, and intimacy isn't the same as dependence, but we treat them like they are. But then, there's the flip side. People who can't be alone for 5 minutes without spiraling, who need constant validation, constant presence, constant proof that they matter. Neither extreme works. And yet, most of us are stuck bouncing between them, wondering why we feel so off. So the real question isn't, should I be independent? Or intimate? It's, when did we forget how to do both? Let's talk about why isolation happens in the first place. Not the surface reasons, the deeper ones. For a lot of people, independence started as survival. Maybe you grew up in a house where emotions weren't safe, where asking for help meant disappointment, judgment, or just nothing. So you learned early, I'll just handle it myself. And that worked. It got you through. You became strong, capable, self-reliant. But here's what nobody tells you. The skill that protects you as a kid can trap you as an adult. Because once you've built a life where you don't need anyone, it becomes really hard to let anyone in. Not because you don't want to, but because you've wired your brain to see closeness as risk. And the scariest part? It doesn't feel like a problem. It feels like strength. There's a psychologist named Erik Erikson who mapped out the stages of human development. And in your 20s and 30s, you're supposed to be navigating what he called intimacy versus isolation. It's not a choice. It's a tension. A developmental crisis you have to work through. The idea is this. You've spent your teens and early 20s figuring out who you are, your identity, your values, what you stand for. And now, you're supposed to risk that identity by merging it with someone else's, by being vulnerable, by letting people in. But if you can't do that, if the fear of losing yourself is stronger than the desire for connection, you end up isolated. Not by accident, by design. And here's the thing. Erikson didn't say isolation was failure. He said it was one possible outcome of this stage. A protective outcome, but one that comes with a cost. Now, not all isolation is defense. Sometimes, it's just transition. You move to a new city. You switch careers. A relationship ends. Your friend group drifts. And suddenly, you're alone more than you planned to be. And loneliness in those moments? It's not a failure. It's just the gap between who you were and who you're becoming. And in doing that, we never actually process the transition. We just numb it. And the loneliness stays, quieter now, but deeper. We're more connected than ever now, right? We can talk to anyone, anytime. We share our lives in real time. We see into everyone's day. And somehow, we've never been lonelier. Because social media gave us the appearance of intimacy without any of the actual work. You can have 1,000 followers and 0 friends who know what you're actually going through. You can post every day and still feel invisible. Because intimacy isn't about being seen by many people. It's about being known by a few. And we've replaced that. We've traded depth for reach, presence for performance. And now we're surprised when none of it fills the void. Here's the other piece. The culture of self-optimization. Wake up at 5 a.m. Optimize your routine. Maximize productivity. Build your empire. Level up. Be your best self. And all of that is fine. Growth is good. Discipline matters. But somewhere along the way, we started treating emotions like inefficiencies. I don't have time for drama. I'm focused on myself right now. I'll work on relationships once I'm where I want to be. Except, you never get there. Because there's always another goal. Another level. Another version of yourself you are not yet. And meanwhile, the people who wanted to know you, they stop trying. This is the emotional availability crisis. Not that people don't want connection, but that they've optimized it out of their lives and called it growth. Now, French existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre wrote a play called No Exit. And in it, he drops one of the most misunderstood lines in philosophy. Hell is other people. Most people hear that and think Sartre hated humans, that he was some misanthrope who thought everyone sucks. But that's not what he meant. What Sartre was saying is this: other people force you to confront yourself. They see you in ways you don't see yourself. They hold up a mirror, and sometimes you don't like what's reflected back. And that's the hell part. Not that people are bad, but that being seen, being known, being judged, it strips away the version of yourself you've carefully constructed. And that's terrifying. So yeah, isolation feels safer. Because when you're alone, you get to be whoever you think you are, without anyone challenging that. But here's what Sartre also knew. That same mirror, that same confrontation, it's also how you grow. Because intimacy doesn't just reflect you. It expands you. It shows you parts of yourself you couldn't see alone. So no, hell isn't other people. Hell is avoiding them, and never knowing who you actually are. And this connects back to what Erikson understood. That intimacy isn't just about romance or closeness. It's about identity formation through connection. Sartre saw the confrontation. Erikson saw the development. But they're both saying the same thing. Avoiding people doesn't protect your identity. It freezes it. So, where does that leave us? Remember Erikson? That tension between intimacy and isolation he mapped out? Here's what a lot of people miss. It's not a problem to solve. It's a stage to move through. And most people in their 20s and 30s? They're right in the middle of it, wrestling with the same questions. Do I let people in, or do I protect what I've built? Do I risk being known, or stay safe in what's familiar? And if you're struggling with that right now, you're not broken. You're just human. The goal isn't to pick a side. The goal is integration. I think isolation builds strength. Intimacy builds depth. And the people who live well? They know when to move between both. Don't get me wrong. There are seasons where you need to pull back, to rebuild, to figure out who you are without the noise of everyone else's expectations. But if you stay there too long, you'll calcify. You become so used to your own patterns, your own thoughts, your own rhythms, that other people start to feel like interruptions instead of invitations. And on the flip side, if you're always around people, always performing, always giving, you lose yourself in the noise. You become a reflection of what everyone needs you to be. So the balance isn't a fixed point. It's a dance. Sometimes you step back. Sometimes you step forward. And maturity is just knowing which one you need right now. We want to be known, but we're terrified of being seen. We crave intimacy, but we've built walls so high, we don't know how to let anyone in anymore. At some point, you have to ask yourself, am I protecting myself, or am I just hiding? The people who choose isolation aren't weak. They're not broken. Most of the time, they're the ones who've been hurt the most. They're the ones who gave everything and got nothing back, who opened up and got shut down, who loved hard and lost harder. So they learned, never again. And they meant it. Sometimes, closing the door is the most honest thing you can do. Sometimes, protecting your peace means walking away from people who don't respect it. But here's the trap. If you close the door to everyone, you also close it to the people who would have stayed. The ones who would have seen you, held space for you, met you where you were. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes people let you down. Sometimes intimacy ends in loss. But isolation? Isolation guarantees it. The strongest people I've met aren't the ones who need no one. They're the ones who can be alone, and still choose connection when it matters. You don't find yourself only alone. And you don't grow only together. Life asks for both. And maybe right now, you're in a season of isolation. Maybe you need that. Maybe it's protecting you, rebuilding you, teaching you how to stand on your own. But don't let that season become your entire life. Because at some point, you'll have to ask yourself, am I staying here because I need to, or because I'm afraid of what's on the other side?